This story is about a daughter-in-law who had done nothing wrong, but was asked to apologize because her sister-in-law was angry and ended up overturning the traditional expectations of the in-laws' house. Shouldn't the person who made the mistake be the one to apologize? Let's take a look together. Please like and subscribe our channel.
Hello, I'm a woman in my early 40s. In life, people can make mistakes. So when problems arise between people, I believe that if the person who made the mistake apologizes, and the person who received the apology accepts it, there won't be many unsolvable problems. But was I wrong? Does the weaker person have to apologize to the stronger person? Regardless of who is wrong, I wonder if more confusion is caused by adults taking the wrong stance. My mother-in-law told me to apologize to prevent any disputes, but I refuse. I pointed out each and every mistake made by my in-laws, including my mother-in-law. It is natural to respect elders, but I also think it is okay to speak up to elders who lack common sense. I'm curious about your thoughts. I've been married for 12 years, and we've been working and living together. My husband is the youngest of 3, with 2 older sisters. He is the precious son in a household with 2 daughters. Shouldn't the daughter-in-law of a precious son also be treated preciously? When preparing for holidays, the second sister-in-law didn't lift a finger. The first sister-in-law had a daughter in elementary school when we got married, and the second sister-in-law got married 4 years after us. Even if the first sister-in-law, who is married, prepares holiday food at her own in-laws' house, isn't it too selfish for the unmarried second sister-in-law to do nothing for the holiday meal? The second sister-in-law mostly went out because she had appointments with friends. Even when she was home without any appointments, she didn't help at all, and just picked at the food I prepared. She was holed up in her room looking at her phone, came out when it was mealtime, ate, and then went back into her room without even cleaning up her dishes. In a household with grown-up daughters, there was no one to nag about such behavior. The first sister-in-law lives far away after getting married. The second sister-in-law lives near her in-laws after getting married. The second sister-in-law quit her job right after getting married. Her husband is not a big earner, just an ordinary office worker. The sister-in-law, who has 1 child, is living off a part-time job now that the child is a bit older. She works part-time on and off. She says she can't work because her physical strength is not good and it's difficult. But she is a person with a strong will. Such strength of spirit seems to come from strong physical strength. She looks very healthy. Can such a person not work because of weak physical strength? The anniversary of my father-in-law's death is a little before Chuseok Korean Thanksgiving. At that time, I was very busy at work. So I explained the situation to my mother-in-law and went to my in-laws' house after work. But when I got there, the sister-in-law had come and was preparing the memorial service with my mother-in-law. When I arrived and said I couldn't come early because of work, and I was sorry, my sister-in-law got angry and asked if I was joking. Her point was, don't do things you'll have to apologize for. And just saying sorry doesn't fix everything. I just let it go without saying anything, thinking she might have had a hard time. But when I came home and thought about it, I was really angry. If she lives close to her parents, can't she prepare her grandfather's memorial service meal? I mean, the sister-in-law, who has never properly prepared a memorial service meal even before marriage. I wonder if she thinks that because she is a daughter, she doesn't have to do anything, and as the daughter-in-law, I should do everything. Even if I work, I think I would help out if there were something happening at my parents' house. I also have a sister-in-law, but I don't think she should do all the work. If there's one more hand to help, the work becomes easier. I don't think it's only my sister-in-law's job to prepare for my parents' memorial service. I don't think of it as helping my sister-in-law, but as doing it together. During the last Chuseok, the second sister-in-law, surprisingly, was at my in-laws' house from the day before the holiday. However, she was in a bad mood and made a sour face when she saw me. As always, I prepared the holiday food with my mother-in-law and husband. As expected, the sister-in-law didn't do anything. It got to the point where my father-in-law told her to do some work. She pretended not to hear, kept playing with her child, and only giggled while looking at her phone. When my father-in-law said something more, she just took her child and went into her room. She didn't even look at me until the day of the holiday, so I thought she must be upset about something. But I was too busy doing my own work to pay attention. On Chuseok Day, the older sister-in-law came over, and we all had lunch together. The atmosphere was bad, so the older sister-in-law asked if something had happened. No one said anything, and we ate in a heavy atmosphere. Then we went to my parents' house. The day after Chuseok, I called the second sister-in-law, with the intention of clearing up any misunderstandings. She didn't answer the phone. In the evening, the older sister-in-law called and asked if something had happened. I told her that the second sister-in-law had prepared the memorial service food for our grandfather on the day of the memorial service, and I had gone after work because I couldn't leave work early, and I didn't know if that was why she was angry. The older sister-in-law took my side, saying that it was something she could do since she lived nearby and didn't even work, and there was no reason to be upset about that. I talked with my husband and got irritated, asking if what the second sister-in-law was doing made sense. My husband initially listened to me, but then he got annoyed and we had a big fight. In the end, my husband took my side and apologized. But I couldn't let go of the anger I felt because of the second sister-in-law. What I told my husband was, this: has the second sister-in-law ever helped out with anything at her in-laws' house since she lives nearby? And has she ever prepared the holiday food when she was single? My husband said, "My sister is a daughter." And at those words, I lost my temper and got really angry at my husband. Did I go into your house to wash away my sins? Is a daughter-in-law a servant in her in-laws' house? That's how I expressed my anger. The older sister-in-law doesn't come to the in-laws' house often, but when she does, she always tells me to rest. She's someone who tells me to rest, even though I'm going to be doing all the work by myself when I come here. It's really nice to hear that. But do you think I can sit and rest while my older sister-in-law is working? The second sister-in-law has a narrow mind, so she'll probably act like that. That's what I thought and let it go. But then something really infuriating happened. My in-laws wanted me to apologize and make up with the second sister-in-law. I felt like my head was going to explode with frustration and anger. And I even got a migraine. What have I done so far? I was haunted by that thought, and couldn't sleep for several days. The second sister-in-law is stubborn, so she'll definitely insist that I was the one in the wrong. But while I was wondering how to reconcile with her, my in-laws told me they wanted me to apologize, and I felt drained. So my heart became even colder. I thought apologizing to the second sister-in-law was absurd, and my desire to make up nicely completely disappeared. About a month after the holiday, the older sister-in-law called me. It happened that my mother-in-law's birthday was on a Saturday, and she suggested that we should all gather at the in-laws' house and have a good talk. I said I didn't think much of it, and that I would go since it was my mother-in-law's birthday. So, I went to the in-laws' house on Saturday. I was determined that if the second sister-in-law upset me, even a little, I would confront her about everything, and I went to the in-laws' house. When I got there, the older sister-in-law's family was already there, and the second sister-in-law arrived just in time for lunch. After lunch, we gathered in the living room, eating fruit and drinking tea. When my mother-in-law spoke, she said that the second sister-in-law was very upset, and as the younger one, I should apologize and make things better. At first, it seemed like a wise saying from an elder, but I was very angry. The second sister-in-law, I don't know if she was doing it on purpose, but her expression was very bad, as if she was very angry about something. That day, for the first time, I raised my voice at the in-laws' house. I said that I was not below my sister-in-laws. I said that the second sister-in-law was a bad daughter, who wouldn't lift a finger to help her own mother, who was working hard, a rude daughter-in-law at her in-laws' house, and a selfish person who made others uncomfortable with her mood swings. I asked why I had to accommodate the second sister-in-law's feelings when I had done nothing wrong on the day of the grandfather's memorial service. I said that when someone does something wrong, it's the parents' job to correct them. My mother-in-law said that for a peaceful home, the lower person should apologize. I immediately told her that she was mistaken. I said that there was only one person causing trouble here, and that was the second sister-in-law, and that if we wanted a peaceful home, we all had to attack that person and kill her spirit. I said that if we cater to the bad person for immediate peace, that bad person will only get worse and become more arrogant, and then the home's troubles will never end. And eventually, the family will fall apart. When I first came to this house as a bride, I wondered how there could be such a bad daughter as the second sister-in-law. I was surprised that no one said anything. A person who only cares about their own feelings should be corrected by their family all at once, but instead of doing that, forcing me to apologize only makes me close off my heart. I said this and told my husband that we should go home. When we got home, the older sister-in-law called. The older sister-in-law said she would apologize on behalf of her younger sister. My older sister-in-law said she was making an apology because she wanted to calm the situation down. And she told me that she would speak to my second sister-in-law and make her apologize to me. So she asked me to wait a bit. I told her honestly that unless my second sister-in-law came running to me, knelt down, and begged for my forgiveness, I would consider it, but my heart was closed off to that extent. The older sister-in-law seemed to understand how hurt I was, and said that these things would be resolved over time, and she would wait until then. My mother-in-law, however, called my husband and got angry, saying how could I do such a thing on her birthday and leave like that. My husband got angry and said that the responsibility for this disturbance was greater on the mother-in-law than on the younger sister-in-law. He was on the phone next to me. He was angry and said that from a young age, the mother-in-law didn't think about correcting the bad habit of the younger sister-in-law, who would back down if things didn't go her way, and only try to pass quietly. So the sister-in-law kept doing bad things. My mother-in-law just lamented, "What's the point of living to see this?" It didn't seem like she was trying to understand the essence of the problem. I told my husband that I would never go to the in-laws' house again. My husband readily agreed and said that he couldn't forgive those who disrespect his wife. Hearing him say that made my heart soften a bit. The younger sister-in-law may be the problem child at the in-laws' house. But isn't it the in-laws who raised the younger sister-in-law to be a problem child? If I did something wrong, I would appreciate it if you could point it out. Thank you.
Is there another daughter-in-law as easygoing as this? She's raising 2 kids while working, doing everything she's supposed to do at the in-laws' house where she didn't receive anything. If she shows kindness without reason, all they have to do is say occasionally, "Thank you. You're working hard," looking at them unable to bear the fortune that rolled in and rejecting it. It seems like the mother-in-law and the younger sister-in-law are people with no luck in their destiny.